doesn't leave clear marks on this old elm tree. It has been growing here for 400 years. At this time every year, it records the winter and waits for the spring in this unique position. Though a new year is already underway on the calendar, it's not quite the end of the previous year on the Chinese lunar calendar. The 8th day of the 12th lunar month is the date of the traditional lava festival. To mark the occasion, people cook special congee with grain, peanuts, red dates, walnuts, and almonds. Mrs. Fu has replaced the congee with steamed rice. She steams yellow rice, which is common in northeastern China, in a wok with half-cooked red beans. This is the traditional food of the lava festival. It's something she has enjoyed since childhood. They have a saying in the town of Wulaja. After eating special steamed rice, there are 22.5 days to go before the Chinese New Year. These days, like all other people in this small town, Fu's family is busy preparing for the Chinese New Year.
Lợn不lợn à? Trồng不lợn đi. Na你穿那点儿呢？不冷，我嫌热，不冷吗？快了，3个糖水吧。3个糖水，3个糖。冷不冷？3盒冷不冷？冷。
Fu's children gather at her house. They all have their own families, but their mother's home is still the emotional center of the whole family. Her children know what she likes and bring her pastries they can't even name. The wooden container is rarely seen these days. The pastries are made by the only remaining traditional pastry shop in the town. These snacks were Fu's favorites when she was young.
这么满呢哈，我就想，这些孩子们就费的心买这么些，买这2箱子这样，那这婆婆真挺好的，圆乎的。
Now in her 80s, Fu is the backbone of the family. Every year as they begin to prepare for Chinese New Year, she carefully opens a drawer and takes out a rectangular wooden block, one of many antiques. It's a family heirloom, and all their preparations for the New Year feast begin with this precious object. Wulaja is more than 30 kilometers north of the city of Jilin. A large number of Manchu live here. During the Ming Dynasty, it was one of the birthplaces of the Manchu people. In the Qing Dynasty, the economy, trade, and culture flourished here. The Songhua River contains a small island here. The Fu family lives in a village called Guantong on the island. Guan means officials in Chinese, and Tong means island in a river in the Manchu language. It was named Guantong because high-ranking officials once lived here. In 1657, the Qing government established an office in Wulajia to purchase specialties from northeastern China for the imperial family. Maichu, an ancestor of the Fu family, served as the local magistrate. He became the first governor to be placed in charge of the office. Among its 36 governors, 10 were from the Fu family. The river flows past Wang Jinghong's house, where he is chopping wood in the courtyard. After being air-dried in the autumn, it makes superb firewood. The kitchen fire is important for cooking. The bright flames are a good omen for a prosperous new year. Wang prepares to go hunting. He puts on a sheepskin jacket and searches for quarry in the open fields. The gyrfalcon is fierce. After that government office was opened in Wulajia, it became a major region for the Manchu people, and falconers also arrived here to practice their craft. Wang's ancestor was among them. Wang is a well-known falconer in the whole area. This bird is barely an adult. After some difficult training, it now works in tandem with its owner. The coming Chinese New Year is the best time to show what it can do. Shu Kai's malt sugar workshop becomes busy every winter. Though he hasn't produced any for a whole year, he can still accurately control the room temperature and the degree of heating required for boiling the sugar. After being kneaded, stretched, and pressed repeatedly, the mixture cools and becomes the flat strips known as malt sugar. The frozen malt sugar is crisp but chewy in the mouth. It was a delicacy that people in northeastern China once loved above all others. Xia learned his sugar-making skills from his father and is the only malt sugar maker in Wulajia. Though prey is declining, the falcon never let its owner go home empty-handed. These days, hunters no longer rely on their beloved falcons for the meat needed for the festival. But this hare is still a welcome specimen to find in winter. Wang will give it to the host of a banquet to be held in 2 days. Fu's daughters-in-law are all good at cooking. One of them is adding water to the yellow rice flour and kneading the dough. The other has boiled a cauldron of red beans. After draining them, she grinds them to make red bean paste. They then wrap the paste in fermented yellow rice wrappers and knead the round dough. This famous local soft food is known as sticky red bean bun. Her children are all good at making the buns, but Fu is the only one who knows how to make the traditional Manchu steamed buns. The mold she uses has been passed down for generations. The steamed buns have various fillings. They can be eaten hot or cold. In northeastern China, dumplings are the most consumed staple food in winter. Making a lot of dumplings is a big job and an important part of Chinese New Year. For members of a large family who are gradually drifting apart, it's an opportunity to help preserve the bonds.
妈，你尝尝馅儿，我怎么感觉我和的馅儿没你和的馅儿好吃呢？
有点淡点，但是再少加点盐。
啊。
Fu has her own way of preparing seasonings. Though her children try to imitate her, they can never replicate the flavors. After a while, the dough is ready. The men chat while making the thin wrappers. The women sit on the heated brick bed to prepare dumplings of uniform size and shape. The children help by putting the dumplings in neat rows on straw covers. This will ensure good fortune in the coming year. Their mothers make animal-shaped treats out of the surplus dough to reward the children. For the youngsters, these double as both snacks and toys. Intriguing to play with, but just as tempting to eat. Some treat themselves to dumplings on the pretext of checking the taste. Most of the dumplings are moved to the courtyard. It's minus 30 degrees Celsius outside. Soon these soft dumplings are frozen. They will be stored in boxes or jars. Steamed multi-layer cakes made of rice and kidney bean and stewed vegetables are also frozen. These delicacies are unique to Wallachia and are the most easily cooked semi-finished products eaten during the Chinese New Year. This is a quiet consolation for the housewives who have been busy for the whole year. Jia is a well-known butcher in town. He gets up early and sharpens his knife with the grindstone he's used for years. When it's cold, he's constantly on the move because of all the requests from many families. A pig will be butchered at Fu's house and people gather to watch. Some men chop wood for a fire in the courtyard, while the women wash vegetables and cook in the kitchen. The fire and the steam soon warm the frigid air of the winter morning. The Manchu people butcher pigs as sacrifices when they worship heaven and their ancestors. work of butchering goes smoothly. After they remove the flesh and bones and deal with the guts, this giant weighing over 100 kilograms will transform from a sacrificial offering to tasty delicacies for everyone. Fu's nephew, Zhongying, takes over. He's an acknowledged chef and will make tasty dishes out of the pig. It's almost noon. The steam rising from the cauldron attracts more guests. At this time of year, Manchu households invite each other to visit and enjoy delicious food. The fire crackles in the hearth. Water bubbles in cauldrons. Zhongying puts tender meat into them. After a while, he lifts the wooden lids and the whole courtyard fills with steam. Chunks of meat bob up and down in the cauldrons as they cook to perfection. Pork liver, skin, and heart are all turned into delicious dishes. The streaky pork and the chest meat are regarded as superior delicacies. After they are cut carefully, their flavor reaches its peak. The people use fresh pig blood to make blood sausages. The sausages should be eaten immediately after being cooked. They can't be saved for dinner or tomorrow. After being left in the cold for a while, the sausages are cut into thick pieces. Then they are quick boiled to get rid of any remaining blood. After being exposed to cold and heat, the cross-section of the sausage looks smooth. The street is covered by snow, so it's hard to tell how old it is. It was the center of prosperous Wulija several hundred years ago. It's also experienced contrasts of loneliness and bustle during the modern age. The local people feel close to this old street during the fair before Chinese New Year. People from all over the town gather here. They buy and sell various products, including poultry, fish, meat, tea, and sugar. Fu Zhonglu arrives at the fair early in the morning to help his mother buy some tiny but necessary items for this important traditional festival. Kai sets up a stand in the fair. This is the time when malt sugar is sold. So many people with a taste for nostalgia come to buy it that he doesn't need to use traditional shouts to drum up business. With the coming of the Lunar New Year, it seems malt sugar is not a commodity to be bought in a hurry. It's more like an appointment kept between the people of the fair and the local cultural history. As Fu cleans her courtyard, her son arrives back from the fair. She needs the malt sugar for the Chinese New Year.
妈，年货买回来了。
买点糖了吗？
买了。
我看这多少？ 呀，挺好，跟过去一样。
This is the 23rd day of the 12th lunar month. As well as cleaning every surface spotlessly this day, each household offers a sacrifice to the kitchen god. They offer malt sugar to him as a gift so he will put in a good word for them in heaven and bless them in the coming year.
上上方，
上上方，
见玉皇，
见玉皇，
好话多说，
好话多说，
赖话少说，
赖话少说，
去了7天，
去了7天，
回到家乡。
Malt sugar is a sweet treat for the children, and the rest of the delicious food satisfies the whole family. After the 23rd day of the 12th lunar month, the dishes on the dining table begin to change. The farmers usually have a light diet. At this time, though, they enjoy the meat and festive dishes. Preparing the food takes many days. These handmade delicacies keep the old memories alive and symbolize the kinship and the sense of belonging among the people. They carry people's emotions and memories within them. They are the call of the hometown and the flavor every household shares. Everything needed for the Chinese New Year is now ready, but the final preparations will continue right up to New Year's Eve. These people are busy making paper cuts for windows. The traditional festival creates an atmosphere of peace and joy. On the eve of the Chinese New Year, the families in Wulajia prepare for reunion dinners. Each family has its own traditions and preferences. This dinner will be a backdrop for warm-hearted stories with the sizzling sound of cooking and the fragrance of delicious food. It is the very nature of home.